no. Oh no. Okay. This is what I believe to be the fourth game I ever made, and it is a mess. I do not have time to figure out everything that was involved in this. And that right there should tell you why this failed so bad. And I just woke my computer up for some reason. I'm gonna pause and figure out what happened with my computer because it should not turn on by way of my keyboard. Okay, I shut the power off, so it's not going to turn on again. But here, there's so much involved here. There's so many character sheets in here. I almost don't know where to begin. That's an interesting drawing. There's character sheets that aren't complete. There are multiple character sheets for a single person because whenever somebody leveled up, I just made a new character sheet. They're all on note paper anyway, so why not? And I am trying to get to the point. I just have extra note paper. I could use that. I'm trying to get to the point where I have something to present for this, and it seems like it just goes on forever. But I think I got it. So, character sheets. I don't know what this is. Another character sheet? Hard to tell. 8 foot tall. Okay, so let's talk about character sheets. This is a skill list, and that is unrelated. So, I did not have a name for this as far as I can tell. But it's a game, it's a tabletop game, stat heavy tabletop, choose your own adventure, free D&D styled Omen Mesa saga. And I should have done more research on how stats work in video games or in D&D because this was all over the place. This was wild. I have no idea what I was doing with this. This was the first time I'd come to this tabletop style with all these different stats, and they are insane. I also included a bunch of different choices for how your character starts. So you can be a human. You can be a Titaean. I don't know why I gave anyone that option. That was dumb. You can be a dwarf. You can be an elf. You can, for some reason, and be a Saiyan, you can be somebody known as a legendary fighter. What's that? I don't know. You can be an other fighter. That's somebody from another universe. Why did I give anyone that option? I don't know. You can be a dragon. Not a dragon, a dragon. What's that? Half dragon, half man? Possibly. Maybe you can be a dragon. I don't know, but that's not the way I wrote it. You can be a Mason. Now that's a pretty tantalizing choice. You can be a Koan. You can be a Kton for some reason, even though in the lore of Omen Mesa there's only one left alive. You can be a Pakodos. You can be a Mason. You can be an unknown. It doesn't help with the stats, but okay. You can be a hobbit, you can be a gnome, you can be a golem, you can be a troll, you can be an android, you can be an animal. That's a lot of work for me. Why? Because every single one of these has their own starting stats. Do I have that piece of paper? Yes. No, it's missing a lot. So I have a couple starting stat choices. And let me go over how many stats there are and try to explain to you later, if I can get to it, what each of these stats means. Some of them are self-explanatory. Some of them are very obvious and have been used in other games. But here we go. If you start as a human, your base stats, and this is not including your background, which may change some of your stats, or however much training you want to have had, or however much training you undergo and things like that. Your base stats, your health, which I misspelled, is 30. Starting small. Your energy, want to be even smaller? 5. Your magic power, 1. Yes, that's right. As a human, you have 1 magic power. What does that stat mean? Good luck trying to figure that out later. Intelligence, 3. Okay, so these seem like okay stats. There's not too much deviation from any other game. Then things get weird, and then they come back, and then they get weird again. So, Defense A, 0.2. Defense L, 1. Arms and legs, by the way. But 0.2 and 1 as a defense stat. Okay, so if you block something with your arms, you take 0.2 less damage? Maybe. You block something with your legs, you take 1 less damage? Possibly. It's probable. I'll find out later. Speed, 10. Agility, which is not the speed stat, 3. So, balance, 8. Where does balance come in? I don't know. I don't understand. Okay, so attack with arms, 0.4. Kind of its own thing, whatever. Attack with your legs, 2. Pounds, arms, 20. Pounds, legs, 100. Pounds, body, 200. These are your stats. Why? How did I really think that I could keep track of all of this in a tabletop fighting game? I don't know. It would probably take 5 minutes to figure out if your attack landed. But that's not what's broken about the game. That actually makes the game more interesting, because some of these stats, if you look at a game like Dark Souls, there's a bunch of stats that you may not even care to look at because they don't apply to your combat style. But a game, an AI, a program keeps track of those stats for you and how they apply in combat. This is all you. You have to figure out how these work when you're fighting someone else. By contrast, let me tell you about a starting stat for the character that I crossed out called a Saiyan, which I guess I just wanted to throw that in there for fan service for my friends who knew about DBZ, because it is very DBZ based as a game and as a series. So the combat's very similar to that. So here we go. As a Saiyan, HP for your base, and there's 2 possible Saiyans that you could be. You could be a low class or a high class. You could either be 130 as a low class or 260 as a high class. Oh, so it's double, right? Well, maybe. Oh. Never mind. Yes, it's all doubled. Never mind. It's high class, everything's doubled. I just looked down the list. It's all doubled. So, energy, you start out with 40 energy. Now, a human started out with 5. Started out with 30 HP. Saiyans are going to be a bit stronger. MP, 5. Intelligence, 3. Everybody starts with 3 intelligence, apparently. Did anybody not start with 3 intelligence? Everyone starts with 3 intelligence. I think that's the amount of skills that you can have starting out. And not just combat, not physical combat, but like energy combat or magic powers or things like that. So as your intelligence goes up, you can have more. Oh, right, the high class Saiyan starts at 6. So your defense in arms is 1.5 as opposed to a human's 0.2. Your defense in legs is 2.5 as opposed to a human's 1. Your speed is 15, so it's not that much higher. And your agility is 6, which is double a human's. Your balance is 12. Your attack on your arms is 3. Your attack on your legs is 5. The pounds arms is 150. Pounds legs is 250. And pounds body is 550. That's the contrast. Titans are in the middle on some things and closer toward the Saiyan on others. But there's other benefits to being certain things, like where you start in the world, because I have maps for where combats take place, and there's arenas and tournaments, there's mansions, there's towns, there's all sorts of stuff. Here's a dojo, I think. Also has a house. There's just maps. Do I have a town in here? There's a tournament ring. There's a mansion. Mansion right there. So, okay. So this was the beginning of a town, but I never finished it. So I have a town here. And what you would have here is you have a tournament ring, and then you would go to the tournament ring if you, the map for the tournament ring, and you just have that out for visualization. But you also have, up here is the mansion, and then you would pull out the mansion, and then you just be there. Over here is the dojo and things like that. So your energy is necessary for doing anything. If you want to perform an action, your energy is going to be ticking away. And by the looks of it, having a 0.2 in defense on arms, your energy is ticking away by 0.1 for every action. So a human can't really do much to begin with, but as they continue to perform actions, they're expending energy and thus training their energy to be higher. They're not a good example. Maybe they are a good example. This is the only real complete character list I have, but this person is trained quite a bit. So bear with me. So this is Lumen. Level... I guess I didn't have levels. I can't see a level anywhere. Oh boy. Very confusing sheet right here. So Lumen has undergone in this game a level 10 gravity training because, you know, DBZ was big at the time. He's a Titan. His class is Lightning King, and your class will add to or take away from certain stats. His fighting style is unlimited wishes. So whatever that means, it could be anything. But this is why I didn't like using this character, and I actually had a whole other list of characters that I played for the game. And why I didn't want to use this character as the example. He has a personality, kind, but also a heartless fighter. So he can be kind to you, but if he's fighting you, he's not going to care about what happens to you. And his background is legendary fighter. Oh, that's what the other stuff was. So you have a race and you have a background. On his right hand, he has the golden sword, which weighs 64 or has 64,000 pounds of resistance before it breaks. And has a cut level 6. Whatever that means. His abilities, he can punch combo, kick combo, energy wave, use the Teteo wave. He can learn enemy techniques. He can transform at a level 8, so he has 8 different forms where his stats will double. And then he has all of these skills as well. At a normal status, without a transformation, his health is 60,152. His energy is 409,600. His magic power is 100. That doesn't go up a lot. His intelligence is... I didn't need to put a number in there because it's completely pointless for him to have a number because he could just have as many abilities as he wants, so I put 100,000. His defense on his arms is 2,048, which is very low, but it's also over a ton if I'm using poundage or pounds as the measurement here. But I'm kind of not, but I kind of am. So your attack, the idea was from Rocky, I think, where Dolph Lundgren's character punches the bag and then it comes up with the number. And then they did that in Dragon Ball Z as well, where Vegeta would like hit the thing and it would fly away, but the others would like smack it a little bit and show up like 700 or whatever. They were measuring the amount of force that they could use, or the force behind their attacks, their punch, or their whatever, their action. So I put it into some weird number that made sense within the game because you're attacking or you're defending with your limbs and carrying weight. His defense on his legs is 4,096. Your legs are always going to be better than your arms. His speed is 144,768. And his agility is 103,040. Now, the agility is very, very close to his speed in this, which I have found to not be typical of character sheets in this game. Your agility is your ability to dodge somebody who is attacking you. And your balance is whether or not you can fall over if somebody hits you from a failure to dodge. And your speed is what calculates your assault on someone else. So your speed versus their agility, if you hit them, they have a chance of falling over something. I don't know. I don't know what this stat is for. I don't know how to calculate it. I would have to have an AI decide whether or not these things were working, or maybe some random number generator. But your speed is also used for travel. How fast it takes you to get from one spot to another. Are you getting there in one turn and thus losing very, very little energy? Or do you have to expend all of your energy to get there? I was trying to make this game too complicated. I also have languages. How many languages does he speak? He speaks all of them. What is his eyesight? Infinite. Does he have any extra advantage? I don't know what that means. This game has been so far removed from everything else that I've done that I cannot remember what I was thinking when I made it. But it is the starting point for so many other great games that I was making. Because I could look at this and say, okay, this is taking too long. This is insane. This is what, there's no reason to have these stats. At some point, you just want to play a game. And this is not a game. This is a chore. And people played it. For some reason, people played this game. This wasn't just test played. This was a finished game. And it was broken and wrong. And I had to get rid of it. I had to shelve it. I had to make something different. I had to make something better. I had to make something simpler. I had to make something that didn't go so far into the thousands of thousands in a stat that it was obvious whether or not you were going to win just by looking at your other player's character sheet. And oh my, there are a lot of character sheets. There's just... And for some reason, there's a character named Big T Daddy who is loud and rude and a restaurant owner. You didn't have to be a fighter. You had stats that I tried to make realistic, that I tried to make within this universe that I created where you grow stronger no matter what you're doing. If you're expending energy, your maximum amount of energy is going up. If you're getting hurt, then your maximum amount of health will go up next time you rest. There was just so much involved. And a lot of different skills, too. Let me see if I can do an example here and just end it after this, because I don't think I've said anything coherent while talking about this entire game. Energy combat can be used by humans, Titans, Masons, and Saiyans. Costs 3 intelligence. Oh, well, there's where intelligence comes in. You have to have 3 intelligence to have energy wave. Damage equal to your energy, and it costs 1 MP to use. Obviously, it will also cost energy to use because every action expends energy. Once you reach 10 intelligence, you can have energy blast. Now, this does not mean that you need 13 intelligence to have 2 skills. It's just once you reach 10 intelligence, you can learn another move. So intelligence didn't really seem that important. But there doesn't also seem to be anything over 30,000? Why? 4 billion intelligence? What is going on? Again, the ridiculousness of it. Why did this game fail? I think it's obvious. It's not fun. It seemed like a good idea at the time. I somehow convinced people to get on board and play it, but it's not fun. And I learned a lot from this game's failure. A lot. Did that stop me from using this as a base for the video game I want to make? No. That one's more complicated, but it's supposed to be a video game. There's supposed to be a computer, an AI, keeping track of all the stats. I just have to design the way they relate to each other, and they just let you play a game. But this... I'm glad I'm not playing it today. So, on the next game... Wow, it's the 5th game I ever made. I don't have one missing in between. And we'll talk about that. I'll talk about that. We'll discover that. I don't even want to know if whatever this game was can be continued. Don't tell me. I know it can't. I will never try to continue that game. And I better not let all the pieces of it separate, because I kind of don't want to ever look at it again after this.